How are you doing today?
I am good, thank you very much. How are you?
I'm glad to hear that. I'm doing well. I actually brought you something. I always like to start off with a gift. I hope you like it.
Thank you so much. TerryHuddlestonArt.com. You just giving me this bag? Thank you.
Yeah, just the bag.
It's a nice bag. Oh yeah, I've seen these. Yeah, look at that. Bing. The Darth Sith Jar Jar.
I've got to ask though, have you been getting a lot more fan questions about Darth Jar Jar now?
You know, I've been getting the Darth Jar Jar questions for quite a while now because of the fan theory that happened on Reddit. But now that Darth Jar Jar will be realized and Lego rebuild the galaxy, it's been quite frequent.
Really?
Even more so.
I can believe that. Honestly, personally, growing up, I really loved Jar Jar Binks.
Yeah.
And it was really sad to hear about a lot of the hate that came with that role.
Yeah.
Personally, I guess maybe because I was a child when I watched it, as well as the original trilogy, I personally thought the comedic humor was really well warranted. I felt like the overall aspect of that character was really well made.
Thank you.
Why do you think it got so much hate?
To really unpack that, and there is a very long answer. To really unpack that, you have to really think about what was going on in 1999. In 1999, there was this scare of the year 2000, right? Y2K was like on everybody's lips. And everybody thought that for some reason, the power to the earth was just gonna go off, right? It was just gonna like click. And I remember people were like, buy gold, because Y2K, and you won't be able to get your money in the banks. So there was this very strong fear mongering that was going on in 1999. And at the time when Jar Jar was first conceived, the idea of CGI main characters in major motion pictures didn't exist. And with George Lucas, who has always been a pioneer in film, doing this for the first time in film history and really changing the industry, it was very exciting, but it was also a very fearful time. Nice. People thought that these CGI characters were going to take over the industry. Sound familiar? Artificial intelligence. Take over the industry and put real people out of business. So there was this real strong feeling in the zeitgeist about the machines taking over. They said the same thing about CGI that they're doing about AI, right? There's going to be like Terminator, you know, Skynet. It's a slippery slope to, you know, the robots, you know, killing us all. And so this was a very good focus point. Specifically, Jar Jar was a wonderful lightning rod for this type of experience. And the other thing was, you know, Jar Jar was a very specifically kids character, right? And George has always been about children. He's always been about the generations coming and not the generation now. And so because Jar Jar was so very obviously for the children, there were a lot of people who wanted their Star Wars dark and gritty who were very upset about that.
I see.
So, you know, it was kind of just this perfect storm of all of these things coming together. And because Jar Jar was such a big, boisterous character, he became the focus of it, and I became the focus of it because of that.
So something that you wouldn't know, obviously, is I'm actually a doctor during the day, and one of the things that actually hurt me when I heard about kind of the backlash on Jar Jar Binks is the mental health toll that it took. And personally, I wanted to see, do you feel like the role of Jar Jar Binks shaped your life for the better moving forward, or do you think because of the mental toll it took, would it have been better if you had not done that role?
It definitely shaped my life for the better. The thing that I have to remind the world of is that Jar Jar is not just a Star Wars character, but is the architects and the blueprint of how we make movies today.
Right.
And me being a part of the team that made Jar Jar, what we did was we created a method, we created a way, we created a way to make movies that every major motion picture uses now. even when it comes down to the software that was written based on how I move, it's still used today, you know, in the advanced software of AI. So all the building blocks of CGI actors were all built with me as the physical code of the processing of the software. So every single character you see after me, I'm in there, right? So I'm, you know, I work at Stanford University, and I teach a class called Inventing the Future. And for the Smithsonian, one of my co-professors, Dr. Brooks, and I, we talked about Henrietta Lacks. You should know if you know anything about human genetics and you know, genome. Henrietta Lacks was a black woman who had what they called the immortal cells, right? Her cells and her DNA were harvested from her body without her consent. And they use her DNA to this day as a building block for every major vaccine in the world, right?
Right.
This is a black woman who has, like, they call it immortal DNA. And, you know, the Lacks family has been trying to get the Medical Association of America to actually, you know, compensate them for harvesting their family's DNA, but it has not happened, right? Now, Johns Hopkins, who harvested her DNA, says, like, look, the DNA, everybody uses it, so it's free. There's access to it. But the drug companies that build the vaccines off of those Henrietta Lacks immortal cells, they charge.
Right.
Right? So they're making a whole bunch of money off of what's supposed to be free and accessible. Right. So my digital DNA is the exact same as Henrietta Lacks's physical organic DNA.
Right.
My DNA is all throughout every single CGI character since the Phantom Menace.
Right.
So what keeps me going and what makes it so important for me is not just it being a role that I played, but the importance of it historically in cinema history,
right,
and the fact that my digital cells are immortal, regardless of how further the technology goes. In order to begin to write that stuff, I'm in there.
That's actually a very good point that I had never really personally thought about. And hopefully a lot of viewers will see that, because I do think Jar Jar Binks is the first time I remember seeing anything like that.
Yeah.
And it was, and maybe it was because I was younger and, you know, Star Wars still meant a lot to me at that age, but to me, seeing that really just showed me how far Star Wars had gone, but also the industry. And so that made me fall in love even more with Star Wars. The fact that it was that milestone that we had just reached, even at such a young age. But moving on from that, you've also had other roles in Star Wars.
Yeah.
Would you mind telling us a few of the roles that you've done? Because I know you've had a couple now.
So in Clones, I was Ahmed Beck, which was all because Anthony Daniels, who plays C-3PO,
Yep.
on my day off, was like, we're gonna be in the movie. Put this pilot's uniform on. And he and I have matching pilot's uniforms. And he was like, let's do, you know, this scene in Clones, which was like the big bar scene, which was the most Eisley scene in A New Hope, which I really loved. And, you know, I was like, of course, I got into it. You know, I was like, yeah, I'm gonna do it. And I put like this big, like, blaster scar on my face. And, you know, they named the character Ahmed Beck. I had nothing to do with that name. But with Kelleran Beck, for Jedi Temple Challenge, I wanted to match Ahmed Beck and Kelleran Beck. There's a history between those two characters that I have yet to tell. And I wanted to draw a line between the prequels and now. So Kelleran Beck, who I created for Jedi Temple Challenge and then ended up in The Mandalorian season 3, was the other kind of major character that I played in Star Wars that I really love, because Kelleran is a teacher.
Right.
And teachers, I think, are the most important people in society. and I wanted Kellerin to be really excited to be a teacher. But I also like derivations of names, where names come from. Like, my name Ahmed is an Arabic name, and it means worthy of praise. One of the names of Allah, right? I'm not Muslim, but I respect the name and I respect where it comes from. And anytime I'm in a Muslim country, I get treated really well. But I like the fact that, etymologies and derivations and all of that stuff exist, especially when it comes to names.
Right.
So I was looking at Kellerin, and I wanted there to be a connection between the sequels and now. So because I am older, I thought my name Kellerin was the origin name of Kylo Ren. And so that's how I put it together. So over the years, Kellerin becomes Kylo Ren.
That's very clever.
I'm smart, man.
Well, I have one final question for you. Hopefully you'll oblige for me. Would you be willing to do your famous Darth Jar Jar line from the new movie?
I can't.
You can't?
They put me on an embargo. I've been getting a lot of people are like, can you do the, And I was like, they're like, not until it comes out. So you're gonna have to wait for Rebuild the Galaxy to come out in September. As soon as it happens, then. But I'll tell you this, that's not even the best line.
Really?
In Rebuild the Galaxy. That's the one they used for the trailer, but it's not. There's a line in there will probably be the next iconic Darth Jar Jar.
Well then, I'm gonna have to hit you up after that comes out and discuss it, because I am very excited to see what this is. I hope you all are as well. Thank you so much for joining me.
My pleasure.
Really appreciate it.
Appreciate you.